Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Newsroom. I'm your host, Khalid. But today is the 19th of August 2024. It's a Monday, it's the beginning of the week, and lots to discuss with you. Without further ado, this is the lineup of today's show. We'll begin with the protests that have enraged and increased over the last week in India over the brutal rape and murder of a female doctor in West Bengal. This happened in a state hospital in Kolkata last week, and since then, since this rape and murder of the doctor, the protests have slowly and steadily continued to increase, not only in West Bengal but also all across India. The doctors all across the country are demanding justice from the government, are demanding that rapes such as these end, because when you look at statistics as far as rape in India is concerned, they are extremely high. In 2022 alone, there were 31,516 rape reports, up 21% from 2021, and it has only increased since then. We all remember the heinous incident that happened in New Delhi in a bus, and since then the rape laws have slightly been amended, but will this murdered and raped woman doctor in West Bengal get her due justice? That only time will tell. But of course, when it comes to humanitarian rights and human rights abuses that have been happening in India and have been happening since quite some time. This is going to be our first story. Our second story, ladies and gentlemen, concerns the latest as far as the Israel-Palestine war is concerned. We are day 318 today. Anthony Blinken, the US Secretary of State, is visiting the Middle East, and he's trying to push this peace deal between Israel and Palestine, which to date doesn't seem to move in the right direction. This peace deal that has been in the works for quite a number of weeks now has been stalled, then reinstated, stalled, and the talks on this have restarted again because of Israel insistence that they want certain points to be included in that, with of course the other side does not want to. But Israel of course continues to brutalize Gaza and its surroundings. So more than 40,000 people have lost their lives on this very day. This is going to be our second story. Then we are going to talk about the government measures over the mpox or the monkeypox threat that have of course triggered all the authorities in Pakistan so that they take the necessary measures so that these incidents do not increase. For the moment, we only have one case, one confirmed case of monkeypox, but just to prevent people from getting it, or preventing other people who have the monkeypox from entering Pakistani territories and of course entering their families and their structures, is something that the government is adamant to prevent. And of course, the government is taking the different measures, whether it be at the airports, at all the entry points, at all the border points, etc. Our Prime Minister also had a very important meeting on Saturday regarding this. Finally, we are going to talk about World Humanitarian Day, which is being held and observed today. The year's theme this day is Act for Humanity, which of course is aimed at remembering the civilians and aid workers who have been killed, injured, and abducted in the conflict zones despite protections under international law. This is going to be our lineup for today. Let's begin with our first story, and that concerns the protests that have completely engulfed India as far as the rape and murder, the heinous rape and murder of this lady doctor is concerned in a state-run hospital in Kolkata last week. We've been joined by two guests. Let me introduce them one by one. In the studios, we've been joined by Barrister Nida. Salam. She's a human rights activist. Barrister Sahaba, pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
And online, we've been joined by Dr. Asma Shakir Khuwaja. She's an executive director of the CISS in Azad Jammu and Kashmir. Dr. Sahaba, pleasure to have you on board for this very, very important issue. We'll begin with you, Barrister Sahaba. In 2012, there is a heinous rape incident in a bus in New Delhi, and that creates a furor in India. The rape laws are slightly amended because before that they were quite vague. They were slightly amended for a better structure of the whole law. But since then, the rapes have continued, and the perpetrators have not really been brought to justice per se. We are in 2024 today, and now again we hear of this brutal rape and murder of the doctor. When we look at India and how it projects itself to be a champion of human rights, a champion of women's rights, Where do they stand when it comes to incidents such as these?
Omar, thank you very much for the invitation. It's my pleasure to be here. Initially, I would like to utterly condemn the brutal rape and dramatic killing of an innocent female doctor. Rape is the fourth mass, plebeian and prevailing crime against women. India is the world's most dangerous place for women and is a hub of a rape culture. Why I'm saying it's a hub of a rape culture, I'm just going to explain in a while. One rape in every 16 minutes is happening there, and New Delhi is not bothered about it at all. This incident is emblematic because India as a state has failed to tackle the sexual violence against women. In 2012, 25,000 rape cases were reported, according to the National Crime Record of India. In 2021, 31,000 rape cases were reported. In 2022, 31,516 rape cases were reported, according to The Guardian, actually. So, New Delhi has learned nothing from the past. Let me go back to the past and the hub of a rape culture, which I said earlier. In 1990, Bentala rape case. 1994, Makochang rape case. 2006, Noida rape case. 2015, Ranghat rape case. 2017, Hyderabad rape case. 2013, Shakti Mill gang rape case. 2012, Delhi bus rape case. And I would like to refrain myself to go into the facts of the Delhi bus rape case because that's quite heinous. Rapists still believe that they will get away with the crime because the laws are not into practice, and India is in a serious and urgent need of reform of the criminal justice system. India as a state has failed in terms to protect women. India as a society has failed because shock waves of this incident dramatically affected not only the cities, towns, but even villages. Last Tuesday, after this incident of Kolkata, another incident has occurred where a young girl was raped in a bus while traveling. So, utterly condemned from all perspectives.
But the fact is, this is something that has been going on in a country that boasts itself to be a champion of democracy, quote unquote, or a champion of rights. This shows the real image of a country such as India. Dr. Asma Shakir Khuwaja, somebody who's no stranger to human rights abuses in India. When you look at such incidents, such heinous incidents, of this trainee, doctor that was raped and then murdered at the RG Medical College last Friday, what do you infer as far as women's rights or human rights in India is concerned?
Thank you, Omar, for asking such important question. And I would like to appreciate you and your team that you are raising this very important issue, which is not political, which is neither regional, but it's a global issue. It's an issue of journal moral ethics. Very sadly, we deeply condemn this crime against women. But in order to understand why this crime happened, we need to a bit of detail about the way women are presented and the way women are discussed in India. So first of all, when this event happened, as a researcher, I tried to find out that why people need to come on the streets and demonstrate to support the victim. Why is it so? Because we see that such heinous crimes, they happen against women across the globe, but state itself as a conscious of a country, state government, they take actions against the criminals or the perpetrators. But why in case of India, every time people have to come on the road and make and push the government to take certain action? Why Supreme Court took suo moto action to bring those people behind the bars who are convicted in this? Then the research findings were glaring. They are unimaginable because of people came on the streets in this latest Kolkata doctor murder case because government, authorities, hospital, all a hush-hush. They were trying to shrug all the crime under the carpet and they were standing by the perpetrator. That is why in order to push for justice, people helplessly in this thing of people coming on streets that reflects upon the helplessness of common man. And this is what unfortunately India has become. This also reminds me that India as a so-called so-called democracy and one of the second largest, most populated country in the world, is unable to implement UN Resolution 1325 about WPS, Women, Peace and Security, which protects women by granting them a certain percentage in the government, in bureaucracy. It provides women acceptance, it creates social spaces for women, which India is unable to. They signed the treaty, but they did not ratify it and plan and made this women action plan according under the Article 1325. So why is it so? Why women are not being considered as that much human by the Indian officials? Because the patriarchal society of India, the male vote bank of India, does not allow the politicians and the political landscape or environment to protect women from their patriarchal fascism. And that is how it is. This
that is how it is, Dr. Asma, but I'd like to also understand from a judicial point of view, Barrister Nida, Salam, what does the law say in India, for example, or what does international law say as far as this rape culture is concerned and protection of women and their rights is concerned?
All right, Omar, let me just go back to the Kolkata case right now. The Kolkata High Court transferred the case to CBI because they feared that the evidence will be changes, things like that. So the investigation is with CBI. As far as the laws are concerned, Section 375 of the Indian Penal Code define what instances amount to rape. Section 36D as well deals with the cases of gang rape. The sentence is from 10 years to life imprisonment, but hardly any case I came across in relation to life imprisonment. There's a fast track court system which was introduced, but again it's very ineffective. I would like to add here something very important in relation to the head of the state as a Prime Minister Modi. Prime Minister Modi has recently stated after this incident that we should think about the women as our daughters, sisters and mothers. Prime Minister, with his cabinet in coalition in Parliament, failed to bring legislations to protect women. After 2012 incident, India failed to bring a better legislations to protect women. The Prime Minister failed to provide, and his cabinet and his government, basic necessities to the doctors in the hospitals. Unfortunately, in this hospital or in other hospitals of the government, the doctors were not having the retiring room, or they also called it no-call room. This doctor went to the conference hall to sleep after 36 hours shift. So why the time in terms of work and international laws and the national law was not implemented? 36 hours for any human to work, like, it's pathetic. Another very important thing, why the Indian government failed to bring efficient and effective technology system, why there was like exit and entry control within the state hospital, CCTVs, besides that, very importantly, other security measures. So I strongly believe that the Indian government should take appropriate measures to protect women, because look at the numbers, 31,000 numbers, 25,000, like, it's a hub of a rape culture.
Dr. Asma Shakir Khuwaja, why is India why is India becoming a hub of incidents such as rape? I mean, let's not even go to Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, where rape occurs very regularly and that is used as a political tool. But in other parts of India, is it also used as a political tool, or is it used as a patriarchal tool? I'd like to understand a little bit behind the increased number of such heinous incidents in India.
Actually, when we see this question again takes us to the question that how women are represented in Indian culture, in Indian the Hindu Vedas, in their movies, in their literature, on digital media or the social media. You would see that women journalists or other women who tend to disagree with the BJP or the Hindutva radical regimes or their ideas, they've been given rape threats on social media openly by the Hindu radicals. And this culture normalized it. This is normalized in India. Then I cannot forget that a daughter of our military officer who was killed in Kargil, she stated once on Facebook that war killed my father, not Pakistan, and she was even given the death rape threats. Can you forget the murder, rape, and murder of young little girl Asifa in Kashmir when there were street demonstrations in the favor of the perpetrators, those who committed that crime? Does this happen in any other country? When you see Indian movies or this whole media, you see the brutal objectification of women as a showpiece, as something which should be utilized. And then when you see the political statements of radical parties, BJP, Hindutva, their leaders, they always blame women when any such incident of harassment or rape is happened, because this woman has done something bad in her past life. That is why she has been victim or subject to that brutality, or her clothes must be inviting men. So this is the mindset, unfortunately, in which Indian women are existing. Everyone knows that Delhi is the rape capital of the world. But this incident happened in Kolkata. I would also like to highlight that as per various investigation reports published in Indian media, they also say that woman was she complained about some illegal drug and body organ racket in that hospital, and that is why she's killed. The autopsy report indicates that it is not a rape, it is a gang rape. So as rightly pointed out by my co-fellow, that where is the technology? Why the technological instruments are unable to detect or provide safety to a woman? And how so those people were so confident that they tried to silence this voice by using by making her example for all those who wants to raise their voice against something illegal. So this is really alarming. And again, Goa, which is a tourist place in India, that is highly unsafe for international tourists. You have seen so many incidents of killing, rape, murder, all these in Goa by the foreign female tourists. So who is safe in India? And until or unless that projection of women in media, like the way they project women, the way the dialogue, the songs, everyone downgrades women. They are not about the dignity and grace of a woman. Woman does not mean brain, but only something which is there to appease the male members of the society. So that is what we.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Asma Shakir Khaja Sahaba, to have joined us. We're a bit short of time, so we have to wrap up this part. But thank you so very much to have joined us all the way from Azad, Jammu and Kashmir. That was Dr. Asma Shakir Khaja. Barrister Nida, Salam, what kind of legislation needs to be brought about? I mean, I understand that rape is a global phenomenon, but it's the number of incidents, it's the intensity of and the heinous way with which these incidents happen in India that needs to be curtailed. In your point of view, as a lawyer, what would you? I mean, I know India doesn't pay heed to what we suggest to them, but as a lawyer, what would your suggestions be to the Indian judicial system?
Omar, first of all, let me start from here, and then I'll end with your question. That very importantly, I'm not expecting any change in India, because when the head of the state himself is involved in heinous crimes, referring to the Gujarat incident in terms of killing people and and giving license to the people to rape other people, actually, how can you expect a better system and a better society when I used to give references of fascism in your earlier shows as well. The societies where the fascism is at its peak, like this incident, that societies ended up with incidents like that. As far as the laws are concerned, they should bring a better legislation to protect women, actually. Imagine a woman, this doctor, she was saving people's life, and at the end of the day, her own life was in danger because the state failed to protect her, the state failed to provide all the basic necessities in terms at her workplace. obviously better accountability, 10 years imprisonment. So imagine after 10 years that rapist is out of the prison and he come across that woman, the victim. So like it means that you're going to go back to the dock. Why not life imprisonment? Why not hang to death the way it is? And India should learn from UAE how to protect women, and India should learn from the laws of the UAE as well. So
all right.
Slowness of investigation and all that, better policing system, better judicial system, and I'm very happy that Indian High Court referred to CBI. Now the question here is that how much Modi controls CBI, because this incident sent the shockwaves across the globe, and all the international media is quite conscious about the decision on this.
Of course, that is true. Barrister Nida, Salam, 25 people have been arrested in connection with this as well, and also there is a protest from doctors all across India.
Yes, agreed.
Will it put the necessary pressure on the Indian government to finally amend their laws so as to give justice to the perpetrators of heinous crimes such as rape?
Looks like not, because like after 2012 heinous crime of that rape case, like the Modi errors now. So why Modi and his cabinet failed to bring better legislation? Why? What was the interest? Another very important thing, there's another school of thought that interstate hospitals are involved in illegal organ trafficking as well. So I think there should be proper investigation. International media should pay attention to this one as well, because there's one school of thought by international media as well that this doctor was collecting evidences against that.
All right. So, I mean, maybe this will open a new Pandora's box as to what were the reasons behind her brutal rape and her murder as well.
World's largest artificial democracy failed to protect their own women, and this is shameless.
Well, Barrister Nida, thank you very much for this very segment. Kindly stay on with us. We now move to our second story, and that concerns the Palestine-Israel war that has entered its day 318. We've been joined by Dr. Farah now. She's a foreign affairs expert to discuss more on that. Dr. Farah, thank you very much to have joined us. I'll begin with the United Nations that condemns the unacceptable level of violence becoming a commonplace against humanitarian workers, and it says a record 280 have been killed worldwide in 2023. When you look at, the incidents such as these, and of course also the number of casualties, the number of those who have been brutally killed, and the number keeps on increasing, it's more than 40,000 now, those who have been injured, and the actual number is not even present, because as per the Lancet journal, the number could be as high as 180,000 plus. Despite the United Nations condemning this, despite other countries in the world condemning it, how can this war finally come to an end? When and how will the people of Palestine finally get to heave a sigh of relief and go back to where they used to live? They are now little dumps because all of the infrastructure has been destroyed, but at least when and how can this war end?
Thank you, Omar, for inviting me. The question is very strong and legit, but to answer it, I think it's really difficult for anyone at this point in time, where we could see that this conflict is not coming to an end. We can see that on one hand, there is like dialogue and negotiations going on to bring this war to an end. But on what terms? We could see that there was some agreements going on or negotiations going on in Doha as well, where there was discussion about that the casualties and the hostages as well that Hamas is holding from the Israeli side. But we don't see any fruitful results coming out of those negotiations. And probably you would have heard about the blinkenvisit to Israel and meeting Israeli officials. There was again a talk about how to control this conflict and how to go about it. But I don't see any concrete steps taken by anyone who believes that probably they would really want to end this conflict. And is there really a way forward to end this conflict? I don't see it at all. Unfortunately, we could see from all these discussions and meetings and deliberations that they want to continue the war, but on their terms where they want to release the hostages. That's their first agenda that they want to achieve. And from there, I mean Israel and its Western allies. But if we talk about Palestinians, do they have any agenda for the Palestinians, for the people in Gaza, the way their life has been affected, the way their hospitals have been converted into debris, and the way their children and women are targeted? I don't see any fruitful sort of outcome coming towards them. And we can see that there's like you mentioned even in the beginning when you were opening the section, that you said that the UN also condemn all of that. It's not only the UN, the world in general condemn whatever is happening in Palestine, in Gaza, and to the innocent Palestinians, women and children, everyone over there. No one cared about what is happening. I could see that there is probably one agenda, just clean Gaza from all these people, and then bring people of your choice over there and establish all their territories and rebuild the infrastructure, whatever is damaged over there. That's what I can see. I don't see the agenda is that they want to stop the war. Stopping the war is no more up there in their plan. It will be just like a surprise to the world if it really happens.
The fact is, Dr. Farah, the 260 are just the humanitarian workers who've been killed in 2023 alone. Look at the number of doctors, look at the number of workers of the United Nations, UNRWA, who have been killed, and then UNRWA is labeled a terrorist organization by Israel. I fail to understand the legality of this war between Israel and Palestine. But this said, there are certain sane voices as well across the world, even in diplomacy. A British diplomat, for example, has resigned over the United Kingdom's complicity in war crimes, quote unquote, in Gaza, saying there is no justification for the United Kingdom's continued arms sales to Israel. This has been reported by Anadolu, the Turkish news agency. This resignation letter that criticizes the government's continued sales of arms to Israel was reported by media on Friday and attributed to Mark Smith, who is a diplomat working at the Foreign Office. And the BBC has also confirmed that the diplomat is indeed Smith, who worked in the counter-terrorism and has resigned in protest of arms sales to Israel. Arms sales to Israel is just one aspect of it all, but it is something that perpetrates violence in this Palestine war. Will resignations like this have any effect whatsoever on this continued brutality that is happening in Palestine?
I think these resignations and the voices that are coming from the world, and these are very powerful voices. They are just not ordinary voices. It really matters. We could see that it's not only coming from like these particular groups, but people in the parliaments, they are resigning. People in the media, they're putting their resignation. People in the armed forces, they're putting their resignations. And they have only one voice that is coming up that we cannot stand and support with this kind of humanitarian loss and humanitarian damages that you are causing into the territory of Palestine. So I can see that whatever is happening at the moment, we don't see that probably something really concrete can happen for the people of Palestine. But in the longer run, I could see that the voices, the way they all uniting together and standing for Palestine, irrespective of what color they're having, what is their identity, what is their religious ideology and all, but they stand in support with Palestine. I could see it here that people from all disciplines, they are supporting the Palestinian cause, and it was never ever there. But the way they are like the Israel and its allies, they are supporting the war machinery and they are supporting Israel to continue the war. It is leading towards polarization of the society and in the world in general. And we could see there is a huge bracket now. People who are even in the Western countries, they are not supporting their own governments, and they are raising questions that what are you doing? Who are you supporting? What is our foreign policy about Palestine? And there's a lot of discussion going on about that. These countries should, or their governments should, accept Palestine as an independent state. So we never heard these kind of things coming up. In the shorter span, yes, Gaza is at loss. Its people are dying. They're in dire need of humanitarian assistance. They are in dire need of help and support, medicine, supplies, and everything. But in the longer run, I can see that probably it somehow will lead towards, the acceptability of Palestine on the map of the world. But here, there's another drastic issue that is raising attention of the world, is that due to lack of proper clean food or water and all those basic necessities, there's an outbreak of polio in Gaza at the moment, and that is engulfing lots of children. Yeah, hepatitis and all those contagious diseases is really spreading over there. So if like they are at the moment, the Israeli troops, they are bombing women, children, and men over there, but at the same time, if they don't bomb with these diseases, their generation is going to be affected. So UN is really concerned, but UN seems to be very useless in standing against these powerful countries, because at one time with the recent Blinken visit, we could clearly see that they said that we would support Israel. But on the other side, there is like, a sheepy kind of argument also coming along, which says that we are standing and providing humanitarian assistance to Palestine and to the people in Gaza, and we will not let it happen that civilians' lives should be affected in this. What are you talking about? Where you are yourself targeting, like I'm not saying America, but through Israel, the human life is at stake over there. The civilians are getting targeted. And how can the bombs and bullets, they never differentiate between who is innocent and who is guilty. So far, we have seen all innocent people have been targeted in Palestine, in Gaza in general. So, in that context, saying such kind of statements just to please their own people, because elections are going to be taking place very soon in most of these countries. So, they, of course, need their voting bank as well. They need to kind of get the support of their people to be re-elected as well. So, they will be coming up with such kind of slogans. But unfortunately, these slogans and these kind of statements, they are very sheepy, and nobody's going to buy it. To buy it, they need to come up with something strong and concrete, which they do not have at the moment, unless and until they stop supplying weapons to Israel to continue this war.
I agree with you on that. Dr. Farah, also is, last month, July 20th, Israeli warplanes had struck Houthi military targets near Hodeidah. The attack had targeted oil facilities and a power station, and the Human Rights Watch said it killed at least 6 people and wounded at least 80. Now, these strikes on Hodeidah appear to be an indiscriminate or disproportionate attack on civilians, which may amount to a quote-unquote war crime. This has been said by Human Rights Watch. When it comes to war crimes, we all remember the role of the International Criminal Court and International Court of Justice. We've seen the judgments that came out from them. We see the regular statements that come out of the human rights organizations. What happens at the end of the day? Israel continues what it has been doing since the 7th October, isn't it? How and when can they stop perpetrating this brutality on the Palestinian people?
They can only stop it if a powerful country like America ask it religiously that you need to stop it. We know that there is some kind of, when President Biden also tried to control it, but things are beyond them. But they also are aware of the way Israeli lobby is playing a very stronger role in American politics. And as I mentioned, there's election phase going on. So everybody is concerned about securing their own skin. So if you are securing your own skin, you do not care about innocent Palestinians and Gazans. They are getting targeted in this war. And speaking about whatever you mentioned, I stated earlier as well that bombs and bullets, they never see who is guilty and civilian, who is guilty and who is innocent. But here, in case of Gaza, I don't see that they really care about who is up there. And if it's so far, like other than this, key Hamas leadership who have been killed and targeted overseas, we don't see any other numbers coming up. It's only the people in Gaza whose life is at stake, and they are bombing hospitals under the banner that underneath these hospitals, probably Hamas is having its headquarters or its, refuge kind of places. So this is what they are trying to tell people, that we are targeting schools and hospitals because we are targeting Hamas, and we are trying to to unveil their safe havens. But so far, I think the world is not in a position to accept whatever they are coming up with, because it's the age of digital media where every information is accessible to everyone. So even if they try to play with the information, they cannot play it up like the way they have been doing in the past. So I don't see anyone can stop Israel at the moment unless Israel decided by its own. But if all these powerful countries unite together and ask Israel that due to your stubbornness, see what is happening in our own countries. Our own people are getting on the streets, and we are not able and in a position, to control these rights. UK is the biggest example in front of us. When it happened, Islamophobia, which is really getting momentum, and it's not only Omar, Islamophobia. We could see white supremacy. We could see, anti-Semitism. Everything is at high. Everybody is not in a position in these countries.
Islamophobia is on a high because of this conflict.
Yeah, but like this hatred, I'm saying it with reference to what I have witnessed, that people coming from Jewish land or Jews themselves who are innocent, who have no kind of role in all of this, they are scared of disclosing their identity. We have never been living in this world before where you are really scared of who you are. Even when Christians, they are talking to Muslims, they are scared. And when Muslims are talking to Christians, they are scared. We were never ever in this position before. Thanks to Israel, thanks to Netanyahu, that they have bring this world to such a juncture where we are unable to work, we are unable to breathe in our own normal capacities in life as well. So it's not only the people in Middle East, like Lebanon and all those countries whose life have been affected, everyone's life has been affected. So this is not a simple war, it's a very complex war. And if Israel and its Western allies believe that probably whatever Israel is doing in Gaza, it would remain in Gaza. No, it is having its spillover effects across the world, across the regions. Nobody's going to be safe from this. Either, like I could see, is probably like 3-4 scenarios can build up from this, but the most worrisome for me is that if it does not stop, it will lead towards another big and larger scale war, which probably the world is not prepared to, because we are yet not out of the Second World War and the Cold War phases. So we were just gaining our own breath and momentum, and we were standing, and all those countries, they were trying to stand tall and just recoup with whatever happened in those wars, and another war coming on their way. I think they are not prepared. But this war is going to be really disastrous for all of us, because it's going to be affecting all individuals. So it's leading to a civil wars over there, because people are fighting with each other, and this is not acceptable. And Netanyahu has to realize it. It's not only them, it's everyone. Everyone's life is going to be affected. So there should be all countries, they should be getting united to stop Israel. And it's not in the hands of a few, but most of them have to be together. It includes powerful countries from the Muslim world as well, and powerful countries from the Western allies and Western bloc as well. That's the only way forward. Otherwise...
I agree with you on that, Dr. Farah, but the fact is, that everybody's life across the world has been affected, if not directly, then indirectly. Peace needs to be given a very, very strong chance. And when I come to peace, the only thing when it comes to this current war between Israel and Palestine is this peace deal, this that has been going on, or talks of which have been going on since the last so many weeks. But there's always some bottleneck that stops or restricts this peace deal to go through. Hamas has been saying time and again that they are ready with this deal, but it is the Israeli side that has always found some bottleneck or the other bottleneck for this peace deal not to go through. Now, US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, who is also currently visiting the Middle East, including Israel, to push for this truce, says that these ongoing negotiations might be the last chance to reach an agreement to end hostilities. If this is a last chance to end hostilities, how important is the role of the US for this peace deal to go through? We all remember the United Nations Security Council resolution that was passed, wherein US abstained, but it was passed. And then it said that this resolution was non-maintainable. So then, what kind of a peace deal should we look at? How should we implement this peace deal so that peace can finally come to the Middle East, to Palestine, in true letter and spirit?
Well, you just mentioned that what is the role of the United States in all of this? I believe the United States has a very stronger role to play, because it's a superpower. If we like it or if we don't like it, it's the superpower of the world, and superpower should act like a superpower. You also have a mention about the United Nations. Unfortunately, I could see United Nations is really a helpless organization at the moment in Gaza and Palestine-Israel conflict situation, because United Nations is unable to ask Israel to stop its atrocious attitudes towards Palestinians. And it's not from now, it's from ages. The war is not a new one. It's from 1948. So if we go back to 2024, we could see what has been happening. And throughout, the United Nations was trying to bring some kind of ease and peace deal between the two of them. But was it successful? No. So will it be successful now? I don't see it happening. And why I say that? Because behind behind United Nations is all those powerful countries who are standing in support of Israel for now. So when those powerful countries who are supporting Israel, they will let United Nations, which happens to be their organization working for their agenda and goals, will do something to stop Israel. No, I don't think so that is happening. Speaking of the peace deal, yes. There's a lot of, as I mentioned, every now and then there is discussion going on where even at times Israel is also sitting with and having negotiation with Hamas to how to bring this conflict and war to a peace deal. But what sort of peace deal are they talking about? Because they're talking about their hostages to be released, but in return, what are they trying to do? Is there any promises that they are making to Hamas that they will not go and bomb them and kill people over there? There isn't any something coming out. We have seen the way they killed the Hamas political leader in Iran, in Tehran. That was not acceptable, killing someone in a third country and just violating their sovereignty and all. Of course, in violation of sovereignty, if we go into the legal definitions, it is said that probably it was not a violation. But how could you do that? Just imagine for once if it had happened in Washington or if it had happened in London. So it will have a different scenario. So if it is happening in a country who is not in the good books of these Western allies, so probably it is acceptable. So things are not that easy how to bring a peace deal between the two of them, and whether Israel is ready or in a position to have this peace deal, I don't see it is happening. Because if I look into the Secretary of State visit, I don't see that they are talking about a peace deal. What I can see and read between the line is they are more inclined towards that this war is going to continue, and we will ensure humanitarian aid and assistance should reach out to the people in Palestine and in Gaza, and civilians should have safe places to hide. How can you provide safe places to people where there is bombing and irrespective of who is there, who is not there, is taking place? You need to ask Israel that they should stop bombing schools, they should stop bombing hospitals. This is not acceptable. According
killing,
to
if Dr. Farah, they should stop killing, they should stop injuring, they should stop destroying the infrastructure, whether it be the houses, the buildings, the education institutions, the hospitals. They should provide fuel to the people, they should provide clean food and water to the people, and they should let the human rights organizations to bring in all the necessary food items or health items to the besieged people of Palestine. This is what should be the beginning of a deal between the two sides, and then of course bringing back peace in Palestine and maybe some kind of a two-state deal or a deal that could better the situation in Palestine. Thank you very much, Dr. Farah Naz, to have joined us and to have discussed with us this continued brutality that Israel is perpetrating on Palestine and what needs to be done and what is the need of the hour and how important the role of the US and other such important global players is. Thank you very much to have joined us. Let's come to our last two stories. The first concerns monkeypox or Mpox. Now, the government has taken stringent measures to curtail the spread of monkeypox. There only has been one case in Mardan, and that has tested to be positive. There is no other case presently present in Pakistan, and our Prime Minister in a recent meeting also has given the instructions to all the organizations to take stringent measures, whether it be the PCCA, the Pakistan Civil Aviation Authority, that has now directed all incoming flights to submit a passenger manifest before arrival, as well as other border areas where the country has ramped up the vigilance after the detection of this first Mpox case, or whether also it is to be make the screening processes at airports, seaports and borders more effective, and also the role of the NCOC to monitor and review situation on a daily basis. This is something that our government is doing on the instructions of our Prime Minister, and this will prevent the spread of diseases such as monkeypox in Pakistan. Finally, today is World Humanitarian Day, which is being observed today as well. The theme is Act for Humanity, and of course it is aimed at remembering all the civilians and aid workers who have been killed, injured or abducted in conflict zones despite their protections under international law. The first thing that comes to my mind is Palestine and Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir and all the other zones as well. May the essence of the World Humanitarian Day finally be grasped by all those who are perpetrating these heinous brutalities on the human rights workers and on the civilians in general. With that, we come to an end of today's newsroom. We'll see you inshallah tomorrow with news story segments that pertain to us, you in Pakistan. Stay safe. Allah Hafiz.